Hi everyone, welcome to today's daily demo. Today we have our friend Jake here from Topware. Jake, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So what'd you bring?
I got Two Worlds 2 for you today. I'm showing it on the Xbox 360 for you.
Okay, great. So Two Worlds 2 is obviously the sequel to the first Two Worlds?
Correct, it is. The 2007 open world RPG. It was released spring of that year, and we're back this fall with the second iteration in the series.
Right, so Two Worlds 2 is kind of it's like a hybrid third-person action RPG type game, right?
Yeah, it's very similar to the first one in a lot of respects as far as the layout and everything like that, as far as the player orientation and everything. But we've done a lot, which we'll talk about as far as improving a lot on a lot of the concepts and mechanics from the first game. And Two Worlds 2 is kind of a story of redemption for us at Topware as well as Reality Pump, the Polish developer. So. Okay,
awesome. So I guess we have the game running here. And what are we looking at here, Jake? Tell us what we're seeing.
Right here, we're looking at the hero from the first game. Same hero. We're running through one of the mine scenarios. It's called the Glow Mines. Some of the things you bring your attention to is that we've been able to do with the new engine that we've developed for the game, the proprietary Grace engine. There's been a lot of focus on lighting and texturing and things like that, and just making a really immersive and engaging world that feels really alive and full of stuff. So. As we kind of move through the mines here, and we'll take a look at some of the monsters and introduce some of the melee combat mechanics and show some of the different weaponry and stuff like that, and as well as touch on some of the other stuff as we go along as far as the magic systems.
Right, so Jake, you mentioned there's magic, there's melee, I guess there's like range combat as well with bows and arrows. Like, how does that work? Is there like a predefined class profession system, or is it like open-ended skills? How does that work?
We really want to design it as a classless system, so it isn't something that players necessarily prescribe to from the outset, so it's not like you create your character physically and then pick, I'm going to be a warrior for the next 25 hours or a ranger or whatever. So the way that we've really designed it is that as with each level, you're granted parameter points and skill points. And parameter points are geared towards actual statistics, endurance, strength, willpower, things along that nature that you come to expect. Then the skill points are allocated based on kind of these little subgroups that we have, whether that be melee-oriented skills, magic-oriented skills, range-oriented skills, or even trade skills, general skills as far as defensive characteristics, things like that. So it allows players to really kind of mix and mash how they want to develop their character, what they want to specialize in, and things like that, and create kind of a a master of all, or Joker of none, jack of all trades kind of thing. Right.
So it looks like we're playing a melee character who has just been really cutting down some guys here. So how does the melee system work for us, Jack?
So there's a couple things that we did do as far as, we talked about the fact that it is open-ended as far as being able to kind of take advantage of those different roles and mechanics. We designed a system where the D-pad actually controls up to 3 different armor sets that allows you to quickly switch between those various kind of predetermined sets of armor that kind of augment what you're doing at that point in time, whether that be shooting a bow or casting magic or whatever it be it. But also we did a lot in terms of trying to incorporate some diversity into the melee system. So not just saying, I have swords, so swords just like axe, which is just like mace, and stuff like that. They give each one a different attacks and different kind of scenarios in which they're the best weapon to choose. So being able to switch between the, introducing a mechanic to allow you to switch between those, and encouraging players to switch between those on a pretty regular and consistent basis, depending on the enemies that they're fighting and things along that nature.
Right. Okay, cool. So we got a character who's using. It looks like a giant pole-arm type weapon there.
Big sharp stick.
So there's, you can have like a guy with a weapon and a torch, or a guy with a weapon and a shield. Like, how does melee combat work when you're using, say, a two-handed weapon versus a shield, or dual wielding? Like, what are the differences there?
So, like I mentioned before, it's different. So I can take, a two-handed weapon, which is obviously heavier and does bigger swing damage and stuff like that. I can take two one-handed, which has like a quicker attack. I can equip a shield, which increases my defense, and it is positional. So you have to kind of use the front of your body as a defensive mechanism, as opposed to just saying it buffs my defensive statistic. And then there's certain things you can use, like a torch that you saw earlier. You can actually pull out a one-handed weapon and use it alongside the torch. Use the torch to burn the face of your enemy and temporarily blind them or stun them or something like that, and then come in with a sword. So trying to mix it up and make it situational and stuff like that was really one of our goals with the melee mechanics.
But melee is only kind of one of the paths that you can specialize your character.
Yeah, it's really only one of the paths. If we want to take a look at the magic system.
So it's like you combine different elements to each other. Some will be key to like fire, and others will be key to like reflecting off of things or bouncing off of things. How detailed, how crazy can you get with some of this stuff?
Well, I mean, as far as the modifier, you know, with having all these different kind of dimensions and how all these different roles that you play, you basically have Ace 2 cards, your kind of spell activity cards, so that'd be missile or area effect or whatever, the nature of the spell, and then the kind of element of the spell, wind, fire, water, whatever be it. And then based on kind of the combination of those spells, you have the modifier cards. So I could take a modifier, multiplier card and apply it to a missile-based, projectile-based spell, and it'll go from 1 to 3. And then if the modifier cards are stackable, so I could stack a second one on there and it goes from 3 to 5, and it goes up through 9. And then you start stacking on area effects in the second tier and stuff like that. It gets really crazy.
It looks like that's about all the time we have. So if you could remind us when the game is coming out and for what platforms?
October 5th this year, and it's coming out for PC, PS3, and Xbox 360.
Okay, great, Jake. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching.